Welcome to Lair the Alchemist, where we discuss all things heavy metal and hard rock. On today's episode, let's rank the Death albums. Death, in my opinion, Chuck Schuldiner and Death are the best death metal band, my favorite death metal band. I can't say that I am the biggest fan of death metal. I'm very picky about the death metal that I listen to. I didn't come around to death metal till like the 2000s, so I missed it all kind of when it was happening in those days, the early 90s. Part of that was those were my years away from metal. Check out my other video that I made on that topic. But I've always loved Death. For me, they have a catchy quality to a lot of their songs. The riffs are awesome. There's choruses and hooks inside the riffs and inside the songs. I think that Chuck Schuldiner is the godfather of death metal. He was at the forefront, pushing it to new boundaries, doing new things, new creative things. And I thought with the anniversary of his passing here in the last, the anniversary was a few days ago as of the making of this video, I thought that it would be fun to rank the Death catalog. Now, this is not easy to do because there really are no bad albums in their catalog, which is really a statement in itself, and every album is different. There really aren't any two records in a row that sound the same, because Chuck was always pushing and reaching for more and trying different things. So this was not easy to do. We've got 7 albums. Coming in at number 7 for me, and I feel bad about this, and I think some people are going to not agree with me on this, is Leprosy. And the reason why it comes in at number 7 for me is the mix, and specifically the drum mix on this. The snare drum is so loud. There's some sort of effect on the snare drum or something. It's so loud, it's to the point of distraction, and it's really hard for me to get past that. It sort of ruins this album for me in a lot of ways. I hate to say that because there's a lot of good songs on here. I made a video recently about sound quality and does it affect how much you like a song or not. And unfortunately, this is a case of where the drum mix here is to the point of distraction and ruins some of it for me. But there is a lot of great stuff on here. The title track is awesome. Leprosy. Born Dead is amazing, and of course maybe one of the most popular Death songs, Pull the Plug. So it is a great album, lots of great songs on it. It's just unfortunate that that drum mix takes away from the whole thing for me a little bit. All right, number 6 is Spiritual Healing. Again, I feel bad for putting this at number 6, but it's just a testament to how great all these albums are. I actually really like this album. I know for some people this album, they don't care for it because it's sort of that transition from the early, more straight-ahead brutal sound, moving into the more progressive side of the band. And that's what I've always loved about Death, is that all the albums are different. And if I'm in the mood for more brutal stuff, I'll listen to the first couple. If I'm in the mood for more technical progressive stuff, it's the later stuff. But I've always liked this record. I like the mix on this. I think it's much better than Leprosy. Stuff like Living Monstrosity, Altering the Future, the title track. And I like the fact that Chuck had very quickly moved away from the predictable death metal type lyrics. It was almost like he was rallying against that, going against that, and he was putting in more intelligent, thoughtful lyrics rather than just going for the standard sort of gore or, devil worshipping type of lyrics. All right, number, what is this now? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. Man, I feel bad for putting this at 5. But Scream Bloody Gore, the first Death album, because I love this record. In fact, I love this record so much that it is on the back of one of my battle vests. But again, it's just a testament to how strong this catalog is. Love the album cover. A lot of people will argue, what's the first death metal album, this or Possessed Seven Churches? For me, it's this album because it sounds more death metal to me, whereas Possessed, it sounds like it still has one foot in thrash and one foot in what was becoming a new genre, death metal, but for me this is pure top to bottom death metal. And amazing to think that it's basically Chuck and Chris Ryford, the drummer who would go on to be with Autopsy, and how young they were when they made this. All the songs are great. Zombie Ritual, Infernal Death, Mutilation, Regurgitated Guts, Baptized in Blood, Evil Dead. I mean, just fantastic. And it's got a primitive mix to it, but it totally works here. Okay, number 4 for me is individual thought patterns. And this is when death is, you know, in the more technical, progressive side. I always like that. I think the musicianship on here is just absolutely killer. Overactive imagination, trapped in a corner, nothing is everything. The Philosopher is the album closer, is absolutely incredible. So I always like this album for, you know, the more progressive side of it. It's like almost like every time I listen to it, I hear something, you know, new or different about it. The playing is just absolutely off the charts here. Just incredible, and another pretty cool album cover. All right, next for me at number 3 is The Sound of Perseverance, the last Death album. And this one, man, this was one of the early Death albums that I got, and I just remember being so blown away by things like Scavenger of Human Sorrow, Bite the Pain. What else is on here? I mean, the whole album, Spirit Crusher, Flesh in the Power It Holds, Voice of the Soul, To Forgive Is to Suffer. Man, just amazing. The mix on it is just so powerful. The riffs on it are just, oh my goodness, man. There are just so many killer riffs. One riff into another. It just seems it's like a nonstop avalanche of monstrous riffs, and that combination of the technicality, the progressiveness of it, but without losing the catchiness. It just seems to, it always kept me engaged. You know, it doesn't just sound like them going off needlessly long guitar solos or something. It all works for the song. All right, Symbolic, number 2 for me. Incredible album. Again, this more progressive side of the band. The title track, Zero Tolerance, Empty Words. One of my favorite Death songs is Crystal Mountain. The riffing, oh my goodness. Misanthrope, just incredible. Again, pushing the boundaries, taking it to new places, but still remaining that element of catchiness. It never feels like there's a throwaway riff or just a time filler riff or anything like that. It's like every riff works, and although you hear me say this all the time, I love gear changes in my metal, and there's a lot of that all over this era of the band. It never just feels like pointless. It always seems to make sense. All right, and then number 1 for me is the absolutely incredible Human. Musicianship off the charts, Flattening of Emotions, Suicide Machine, Together as One, Secret Face, Lack of Comprehension, Cosmic Sea, just mind-blowing, Vacant Planets. I mean, oh my goodness, it's like they were operating in a completely different world than anybody else was at this point. It was so far ahead of its time. It's so boundary breaking, everything. The album cover, it's so intelligent, thought provoking. The lyrics, the riffing, the playing is completely, you know, in another world. It's an album that's hard to put into words how much it's just mind-blowing. It's hard to find words to describe it. So there you go. My number 1 Death album is Human. All right, there you go. There's my ranking of the Death catalog. No duds to be found anywhere in there. All amazing records. Rest in peace, Chuck. What an amazing musician and amazing metal mind. All right, so there you go. Let me know how you guys would rank them, or let me know what your favorite Death albums are, or your favorite Death album. Let me know in the comments down below. Till we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.